I think, yeah, let's say without still pretentious with the medals. And then we have a genius coach who decided to play Isaac today. And one thing that I want to say, again, CSA, invest in the VAR and try to revenge the year before when we lost against Pacific and we went out, thankfully, because I got the job. Too much hurry to give yellow card to the guys in white, then there's the guys in red. But, you know, it is what it is. Even we won three times in a row, we're not the big guys. So that's the thing. But we won again! Isaac is a leader. Even if he's a young kid, he has the leadership. He's also a farmer. He's the provider of eggs for everyone at the facility. Oh. Let's say, I have two ways to answer this question. The first is the professional way. So what I'm going to do, I did a fantastic picture with the cup with my wife. So we're going to Photoshop the cats there. And it's going to be a great thing for us, for our family. If I can be tied with the name of this club forever, because we won 3 championships in a row, I'm so honored and I'm so happy because I really love this club. I really love this city. I really love the people that I work with.
Van is the man. How good is Vanni Sartini? Like, in a climate of distrust and politicization in Canadian soccer, he is a breath of fresh air. He's honest, he's funny, he's sincere, and he's a pretty good manager as well, as he led the Vancouver Whitecaps to the three-peat at the TELUS Canadian Championship. They beat Toronto FC in a shootout. Just some comments about Vanni Sartini first. What a guy, Jimmy. Like, I would love to play for a guy like that because you know when he's going to take things light. You know that there's going to be fun at the end of the road through some of the grind of a season as well. He's just such a character and such a likable one.
I love him. I love every time we end up doing interviews with him or we're getting the notes before matches. He's just friendly. He's approachable. I like the way he coaches. Tactically, he's absolutely brilliant for me. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I think if I was a player, that's the type of manager that you want to play for. I remember a while back when he was talking, there were some issues within the squad. They weren't getting the results that they wanted. He put them all in a room and said, let's go. Put it all on the table. Let's talk and let's help each other out. Because if it's not working, we've got to collectively, we've got to fix it. And there's going to be some hard words coming towards me, and I'll take it, and we're going to build off of it. And they went out and they went on this little run where they started winning games. And I thought that's a manager. Yeah. That's somebody that respects his players, willing to listen, and wants to improve.
Well put.
And as a player, when you have someone that's so jovial and someone that's cracking jokes, you don't want to disappoint them. You want to have those good moments, right? Like sometimes when obviously everyone knows you're professional, you have a job to do, you want to go out and win for yourself, for your club, for your family, for the kid that used to play cool. But when you're around each other all the time, when you travel on the bus, on the plane, all these things, you want to make your brothers, the people around you, your coach, father figure, whatever, happy as well. That is not a guy that you want to disappoint. The way that he's giggly, the way that he moves, he's just a joy to be around.
Yeah, and there's no games. Even with us, with the media, he'll tell us his starting 11. He'll let us know what he's thinking about players. He'll tell us the way, like, there's no state secrets here that he needs to keep under wraps, like, which allows us to do our job better as well. I'm thrilled for him and the way that things have worked out for him in Vancouver. You know, the next step for the Whitecaps is trying to do some damage in the MLS Cup playoffs. What does this Canadian Championship win do for them? They weren't the best on the day against Toronto FC, but sometimes good is good enough.
Yeah, and if you're a great team, you pull it off in the moment. Like, was it an abysmal match for them? No, they just didn't attack, for me, as well as they normally do. And then Toronto FC, you have to give credit, played very well. But it means something as well, Gaff. When you play a game, you don't do your best, but you still come out on top. I think this win is something they hold together as a team, and they've done it collectively. But at a perfect time, when you're about to go into playoffs, when you usually bow out to a team that might be better than you on paper and better than you on the year, that go on and eventually win the cup. This is a team that's saying now, hey, we can do this. We can go and win hardware. We have a team. We have the depth. We've grinded together. I think they're feeling confident about their future moving forward.
I agree. I think this squad here, I mean, look, for me, good teams find a way to win. And it's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be great football that you're playing, but you grind things out and you'll get the results done. And that's what they did. They didn't have a great game against TFC, But they hung on. They did what they had to do, took them into penalties, won penalties, lifted the cup, and now it's like, okay, let's go on to the next step. Went to Portland. They drew 1-1. They're in a good playoff position. And does this squad, can they have a run in the playoffs? Absolutely, I think they can, because I think they're good enough.
Yeah, and they don't give up very many really good scoring chances. Like a lot of TFC's chances for the possession they had all came on the outside. And so that bodes well that they're actually one of the few teams in MLS that really play good defensive football. As for Toronto FC, did we learn anything about TFC through that match? And what does this say about TFC under John Herdman? The fact that they played well, they were competitive in a game that many people didn't really give them much of a chance. Does that show you something about this Toronto FC team, Jimmy?
For me, overall, it wasn't a great game. Both teams kind of canceled each other out. TFC had a couple of chances, but it wasn't great football by either team. And will TFC be disappointed with this result? Absolutely. This was something that they wanted to win. They wanted silverware. They wanted to win the Canadian Championship.
Small margin
now,
right here, right? Like,
if they don't get in to playoffs and they don't win the Canadian Championship, it's an absolute disaster of a season.
These matches, finals, are about details. When you look at Toronto FC, why they're going to be disappointed, because they did enough, when you see Bernadeschi's pen right here, to be ahead, to really put pressure on Vancouver. And you're watching this match and it being 0-0, and say Udvik right here just putting that away to win it all. It's like they never gotten to a point, TFC, to finish them off, to really, really apply that pressure. And I think that says a lot about the season that they're having.
Yeah. We'll see where TFC goes from here. They have 2 more games. It's kind of silly. They're the one team that doesn't play on decision day, and they obviously do not control their own destiny anymore. Looks like CF Montreal is moving in the right direction. That would make it even more of a disaster, Jimmy, if a rebuilding CF Montreal squad gets in above Toronto FC, which they're on pace to do at present time. A lot of questions will continue to be asked about Toronto FC. Let's take some time and talk about the tournament in general. I'm a big fan of the Voyagers Cup. I always have been, what it represents. The best of the best, professionally speaking, in Canadian football. This is an important tournament for me. But before we turn our eye to the tournament that was played north of the border, let's hear from Kai Kamara of LAFC. This week, it was a contentious year for the U.S. Open Cup, with MLS representation not at a level that anyone would want to see. Let's just listen to LAFC's Kai Kamara after they won the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday night against Sporting Kansas City, and some pointed words towards Don Garber, the commissioner of Major League Soccer.
Don was here. I saw him. He was on the podium. He gave me a medal. So let's get him in here and make sure that he don't take MLS away from this. Is that what he's doing? Oh, but why are you asking me that then? No, Don better not take this away. Like, this is amazing. You know, this is American soccer right here.
That's how I feel about Canadian soccer as well. And I wish I heard more voices like that supporting this tournament from a Canadian perspective, because this, for me, is a tournament worth fighting for. This is a tournament that I don't want to see go away. And the way that things played out this year, with all the scheduling issues around it, I question in the minds of some what their commitment level actually is. I would love to hear Canadian players come out and say words like Kamara, because Jimmy, as someone that won the tournament, as someone who is proudly a member and very much part of the Canadian soccer community, we need strong voices like that to support this tournament and everything it represents.
The Voyagers Cup, it's not going anywhere, is it? So
I hope not. We struggled to...
We don't have the issue here. They've got it down south of the border. This competition in Canada is only getting stronger.
We hope so.
It is. It is. We've got more teams now. The competition's getting better. People are tuning in. For me, we're on the up with this, with the Voyagers Cup. I don't see any issues that's happening in Canadian football that we're going to end up like this, the Americans.
Well, I would suggest that the willingness of Canada soccer, or maybe the lack of a willingness to fight for dates that this tournament is played for, that can be problematic going forward. We know how MLS teams, their schedules are going. With the Leagues Cup, with all these other competitions, you need to make time in order for this tournament to be executed at its highest level.
Yeah, you mean the gap between the games.
A 6-week break between the first and second leg of the semifinal, that's not good enough for me. Yeah. I question the commitment. There was no activations inside BC Place on the weekend. That pyro, that celebration was embarrassing for me. There was no marketing around the final at all. I mean, this tournament's existing and growing because of certain clubs and certain individuals making sure that this is pushed forward. I think collectively, if people take their eyes off the prize, it could very well go the way of the U.S. Open Cup, which would be an absolute shame. That's why I think that it's of the utmost interest of everyone in the Canadian soccer ecosystem to do their part and to ensure that this tournament's a success moving forward.
You have to prioritize it. I understand. I think when you look at the 6-week gap as well, and that was just to accommodate one league schedule. It wasn't a CPL issue. It was absolutely MLS issue. For sure. But you have to prioritize it for Canadian clubs. What I love about this tournament, many things, but specifically, look at a player that plays for Valor right now, and Safa Amla. Like, CS St. Laurent had 2 great games. Everyone knows him in the futsal scene as a top player, but gets an opportunity to play a game and then now has a professional contract and is playing significant minutes for Valor FC. That doesn't happen unless this tournament's in place. And I guess that's like the trendy story that people talk about, but playing in stadiums, playing against teams that you wouldn't normally play against. When we traveled to TFC, yeah, I still haven't forgiven you. I started on the bench that day, but it's okay. No, we're gonna get by.
You were injured, weren't you?
No, I wasn't injured. I was fresh and ready to go. I couldn't believe it when I saw the 11.
We thought you were injured.
But no, pulling up to our stadium, right, as a York United player, and you get to play, you get that opportunity in that tournament, and that is one and done. Didn't think I would retire when I did, but I got to play and smell the grass that you were there scoring goals on, right? But this is what it does. It unites and brings everything together. I think in this Canadian ecosystem where everyone loves footy, having a tournament where you could actually live it out is beautiful.
I thought it was great this year. There were some great games and moments. I absolutely enjoyed it, and I love seeing, you know, the League One teams playing against CPL against MLS. This cup is only going to get stronger and stronger and more prestigious in time.
Yes, we would like more teams to compete, and that will come along with Canadian Premier League expansion, no doubt. There are going to be 4 League One teams in the competition next year as League One expands across this country. I do think there's a real opportunity here. So, and yes, Cavalry will level on aggregate goals with Vancouver Whitecaps. Same goes with Forge with Toronto FC. So the gap, you know, it's a thin line between victory and defeat in this competition. If we were to alter and make other changes, even Vanni Sartini said it earlier in the competition, let's get rid of the away goals rule. The fact that we still do it in this competition, it's wild to me.
Vanni Sartini said it. Bobby Smirniotis said it as well. We're the only the cup that's doing this. So you still have away goals. James Merriman said it as well. You think about how spicy those games could have been.
Oh, absolutely.
Calgary, Vancouver playing if it goes to
I agree with that. I agree
for sure.
100%.
One thing I would want to change, I don't know, maybe it has to do with just the wear and tear on players, but having 90 minutes and then going straight to pens, I would love to see extra time. Yeah. Like, just see how it's only 30 minutes extra to see what these players can go and do and really have a gameplay as opposed to straight to pens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one too, though, Jordan. You know, as a player, you're playing 90 minutes, and you even like in your domestic league, then you got the cup matches. Now, picture you 3 or 4 rounds going into penalty shots, extra 30 minutes. Those minutes add up after
they
time.
do.
And it pays its toll. So I get the 90 minutes and go straight into penalties and then get off home, back to where you need to be.
Even if it's for a cup final, though. Like, I think there's a difference. If you maybe
can't
do that through the competition.
Yeah.
If you can do that for the cup final, Vanni Sartini also would like to see VAR. He's put that on Canada Soccer to see if there's any wiggle room there. So look, like, we all love the Canadian Championship. Here's to a bright future and prosperous future moving forward. Congrats on the Whitecaps. The Voyagers Cup is theirs yet again, and they're back in the Champions Cup in 2025. One Nation every Tuesday with Petrillo and Wilson right here at One Soccer at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Oh Canada, Oh Baby, presented by CIBC, is up next here on Mac.